Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building.
Yes, indeed.
We have Aida Rodriguez back in the building.
That accent was
I was
so
trying to get about Rodriguez. I couldn't get it.
Why? Why did you even do that? Like, why? Like, I don't even know the point of that. Why roll the R?
I'm trying to get my
But why roll the R? That makes no sense. You've never rolled the R ever.
I tried, though.
Do it again.
Jesus Christ.
No, I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay.
And
Ian Lara.
Who, by the way, is Dominican.
Right.
Dominican?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And from Queens.
Dominican from Queens. I'm like the real Envy. I'm like what you say he is. Dominican from Queens.
I just thought you was black.
Yeah.
See?
I am. I'm black. I mean, yeah.
Don't start with the erasure.
Yeah, right away.
No,
we getting into
no.
it.
I didn't know. I just didn't know he was Dominican. I just, when I saw him, he was like, "What up, nigga?"
Yeah, I said that.
You said people always ask you, though, like, you sure you're not part a little...
Yeah, people always, they just assume I'm, because black gets equated with African American, like only,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's so
right. That's
much
right.
different things. So
Afro-Latino.
Yeah, so I claim being black. I mean, I'm black. Everywhere I go, it's like, nigga,
So you the
black.
real DJ Envy then?
Yeah, right, from Queens, yeah. South
I'm
side.
not.
No, he is Dominican.
Well,
Where your daddy from?
Not Dominican.
Dominica.
Where your daddy from?
Dominica.
Okay.
A little
Oh,
bit.
he's French. You got colonized by the French.
That's right. Now we know why you so red.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right away, talking colonizers. We get right into it.
I'm on brand.
This is great.
No, but my best friend is from, her family's from Dominica. So I'm familiar.
I've never been yet.
Those are beautiful people.
Yeah, you should go.
I know.
Envy, you need to go
I know.
see it. It's a whole different feeling when you get to see your culture, like Aida did. When you went to, when you filmed Fighting Words, and you went to Puerto Rico, and you went to the Dominican Republic, it's just seeing like that and filming it and documenting it is a whole different thing.
Yeah, seeing your people and seeing our people all over the world, looking different, speaking different dialects, but still belonging to one whole thing that I hope we find some solidarity, because America about to be over in 37 days.
And we don't even realize it. I keep trying to tell everybody it's us versus fascism, but nobody wants to believe it.
Why you say 37 days?
Because it seems like it's almost over, right?
Yeah, I hope not. This special coming out, I need at least 3 months with the special. Then America could do whatever it wants.
Let's talk about the special.
Romantic comedy.
Yeah, romantic comedy on HBO, directed by the great Aida Rodriguez. I'm excited it'll be out November 11th, Friday. This is, by the way, I gotta say this is such a big deal for me, because I used to work at the airport. Like, before I did comedy, I worked at LaGuardia Airport. And at 3 different times, I brought all y'all bags when y'all was traveling through LaGuardia Airport. Yeah.
Those our bags.
Yeah, I brought it to you guys. Like, you guys were at the thing. Yeah, you guys were all cool. You guys, Angela, you was like blessed, whatever. You didn't look me in my eyes, but everybody else was cool. Everybody else is really cool.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, Envy was like, don't look me straight. Just put the bag down and walk away. But you guys were both so cool. Nah.
People don't forget stuff like that.
He's lying.
No, he's not.
Nah, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You was with your whole family, though. You had like your whole family. Like, yeah, it was like 15 deep.
Yeah, 20 deep on that one.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, right, since you said the airport, how many times do people go through bags in the airport?
Never.
What question is that?
Did you just accuse him of stealing?
yeah,
I didn't say him, but I had stuff stolen at the airport. I'm sure everybody did, but I was just curious: is it normal? And how do they
I worked there for 7 years. Shout out to the Ramp crew at LaGuardia Airport. I never seen anybody go through a bag ever.
He's just trying to accuse you of...
No,
Yeah,
I
this is.
didn't try to accuse.
And your whole squad.
Yeah, I know. You just like, y'all all thieves. I work for Delta, though. I don't know. You be on you Spirit or...
Delta,
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Nah, at Delta, that don't happen. At Delta, that don't happen. We never go through nobody's bags.
One time at Delta.
Who?
I don't know.
I need names because I still got connections over there. I found out.
And as soon as I
Why
got
would somebody steal your underwear
They
but
thought he was
nothing
cute.
else?
It's easy
That
answer.
doesn't make sense.
It's witchcraft. Somebody buried them in their yard,
I hope not.
and they still waiting.
Now, Aida, can we talk about your deal, though? Because you actually... So,
Directed.
Ian, the special romantic comedy is coming out, but you also are producing comedy specials for other comedians, too.
So
Yeah.
we did 3. Ian was the first. We did a comedian named Marcela Arguello. You were at the
Shout out
tapings.
Marcela.
And then 2 newer comics who won this competition and did these 15-minute specials. Ralph Barbosa, who's getting a lot of shine right now.
Yeah,
and,
shout out Ralph.
Gwen LaRocca,
Gwen.
who's from Chicago. And these are Latino comedians that are not the typical Latino comedians that you're used to seeing. Ian walked in here straight up in, standing firm in his blackness, having a very specific experience. And I think that we need to hear more voices instead of listen, more power to everybody who's been getting the love. But there is a big ass spectrum of Latinidad, and I want people to see us in all of our fullness. And Black is part of the spectrum, as I always speak about. So I like to talk about it. And Ian and I have a very special connection. He's my family.
Oh, y'all actually related?
No.
Oh.
We are related.
Well, her dad is running in Dominican. We haven't done the DNA test. It might be.
Knowing my father.
Her dad was a king in DR, but no. I met Ida when I was 2 years into comedy. We had the same manager, and already we clicked right away.
But what got you into comedy?
I was at the airport and I just didn't want to keep bringing y'all bags. I was like, if Envy told me to look away one more time, I went to college. I was pre-law in college. I was supposed to go to law school. I had a political science major, and then my senior year, I just people was like, yo, you funny. Class clown type of stuff, and they was like, go try comedy, you should try it. And then I just tried it in New York City, and I just fell in love with it.
How was your first show?
Well, how come you act like you didn't know about politics when you was on Hell of a Week?
I was playing that character because you had me on with Killer Mike and Tara, and they went on a 30-minute dissertation on Atlanta politics, right? And I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. And also, that wasn't my role in that show. I was like, they got the politics. I'm gonna be this guy that just pretends that he has no idea what's going on. So I was kind of doing a character.
I get it.
By the way, I'm so glad that I'm doing this after you guys evolved, because I've been watching you guys for a long time, and it's very different now. Because I remember when I did your show, we cut to commercial break, and we was talking. I was like, I feel like I don't belong on this panel, and you was like, nah, you belong right where you are, brother. You need to be sure of where you are. Right. And I was like, damn, this is so cool that Charlamagne is this Charlamagne and not, the Charlamagne he was to Safari when he came up here. I was like, thank God he's evolved. And
Safari belongs here too. He just didn't belong here rapping.
Found therapy.
That's all.
Now, how was your first show when you decided, when family and friends said you're a comedian and you booked your first show?
I mean, my family and friends, they didn't find out about it so I was doing it for 3-4 years before they even found out. Because when you start doing comedy, it's like, you're like a drug dealer. You don't want nobody to know. It's like, you're embarrassed about it. You're like, you don't want nobody to know till you. Right. So my first one, I just went with my cousin. We just went to an open mic, and you don't know anything. When you're ignorant to what you're doing, it seems like as well. But obviously you look back, and I was like, that wasn't, I wouldn't want that recorded and out there for sure.
You didn't get booed though.
No, I haven't got booed.
Talking and not paying attention.
No, people paid attention. People paid attention. Yeah, it was a good first.
The first time is always great.
Yeah.
It's the second time.
Right.
Where you eat peanuts.
Right. Because the first time I was like, maybe I'm Chris Rock.
You ate penis
I'm trying to be. It's an expression when they say you eat a dick on stage. That means you bombed. Because apparently eating a dick is bad for you. But it's always that first time.
What?
I said I was
comedy is crazy.
I was going to be nonsense today.
Comedy crazy. I ain't know stand-up was like that. I thought it was. Of course, no. They know what you're talking about.
I need to go.
I thought they said you got to eat a dick to make it in Hollywood. I didn't know.
That part.
Wow.
And so the funny thing is, the first time is that adrenaline rush. You got it all in you. Everything you've been wanting to get out, you do so great. That second time, that's when reality knocks on the door and says, you don't know what a premise is, you don't know what a punchline is, you feeling yourself. And then, you have to die on stage. And then that's when you decide
if this is for you or not.
If this is for you.
So that's your experience, Ian?
Yeah, did you
for sure. I was counting. I was like, when is it going to go weird? Because at some point in every Breakfast Club interview, Envy goes to Charlamagne. Envy brings a penis to Charlamagne. I don't know how.
It was Ida this time.
The last one, they opened with it. It opened with penis. So we did, 5 minutes? This is pretty good.
Envy got you a shirt, too.
This is I'm going to show you the shirt. This is.
Could you let Ian answer the question?
This is what Charlamagne gave to me.
Oh!
Charlamagne, where did you get that? Is that your merch?
That was a lie.
It was sitting on my chair this morning.
I did not give him that.
All right.
I actually took a picture of it when I walked in because I was like, it's Monday. I'm like, why? Why on a Monday? Like, it's Monday.
My God, that would get you canceled. You better put that shirt away. You could talk about a blind baby before you could talk about gay people. What?
But I guess that's pro. That's pro.
Gay.
This is not gay. This just ask me about my butthole.
Oh, this is the Tushy slogan. Yeah.
About my butthole. Yeah.
All right, so here I'm gonna get canceled.
Why
You
is
just
that
equate
gay?
buttholes to gay
Okay.
people. Everybody has buttholes.
Sometimes.
Ida.
I don't know how we ended
I
here.
don't
We
know
was
how
promoting the
we can't
special.
even have these awkward conversations
no,
anymore because everything becomes appropriated by a cause, right? Like, yeah, I think about buttholes when I think about gay people because gay friends tell me about penises going in their buttholes, but that doesn't mean that I hate gay people. Like,
Romantic comedy this Friday, HBO Max. If you like what you're hearing, tune in.
Now back to you, Ian. We saw
Yeah.
eating penises on stage.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
You're just
yeah.
bombing, bro.
Yeah.
Did you bomb on the second time?
Of course, yeah. No, you bomb for years. You go for years before you gotta like find yourself and find your voice. And at the beginning, you're doing somebody else. You're doing like
Yep.
an impersonation of whoever you think is good. You're kind of doing their cadence, and you gotta find your cadence. So it definitely takes a long time.
And I will dare to say, the best comedians are the ones who are brave enough to be honest about bombing on stage. When you hear people say, "I always killed. I've been killing. I'm the LeBron of comedy." They're usually horrible comedians that have terrible people around them that will never tell them the truth.
When did you know he was the one? When did you say he has it?
Oh, I've been watching him for years, and he's had it from the beginning. It's just the development, the evolution of his voice and him standing in it. He's always been truthful. He's always been authentically himself. And I'm nobody to say, I'm still, trying to whatever. They told me I don't dance enough in this business, but. He's always been just authentic and truthful, and part of the storytelling that that resonates with me, like that. He's dry hit wit. He's a, very deadpan, and you don't see comedians that are Latinos like that. It's usually, I got hit with the sandal, and my. It's like,
That's not bad. That's not a bad job.
it's not that there's anything bad with it. We've all done that.
I
at
hear
the
what
beginning.
happened before that.
Got hit with this
No, but it's always like, you know how we draw our eyebrows on, or it's always this very animated comedy, which is fine. We need it every single voice in comedy, but then there's a group of us that's not our thing. Like me, I'm not very excitable on stage. People are like, she doesn't move around a lot. She's not an act out comic. That's not who I am. I'm not like that in real life, right?
Right.
I'm not
He's super chill.
yeah,
And
that's
very
just my
deadpan too.
It's my personality. So I just love to see it, and Ian comes with this fresh perspective. I think he's beautiful, right? And I wanted him to be seen
He smiled.
in a
For
beautiful
the camera
light
too,
from the
Aida.
inside out. There's not a Me Too movement. I don't take advantage of the youngins. But I watched him and in his light, and I watched him evolve, and I watched him tell a story that speaks to our experience that you never see. A Latino saying, "I'm black," without any hesitation or any trepidation. Is very proud and rooted in it. And then the comedy is on point, and I wanted to see him I wanted to see him shine. And so that's been a great experience for me. I think it makes me a better artist.
What does directing a special mean? Because I always see that, like, you see Spike Lee directed this special. What is directing
That's
a
so
comedy
funny.
special
So we was
mean?
having this conversation, remember? Because what
tell me.
HBO said. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say what HBO said.
Go ahead, talk. I'm gonna let you talk.
Well, from my perspective, I didn't know either though, because going in, I was like, because they was like a director, and I was like, what do they do? Like they just be like, hey, do this. But working with Aida, it is everything, especially for me, because I wasn't at the point where I could walk into HBO and ask for things that I needed. But Aida's just a boss. Like everyone is like, they don't want to say no to Aida. So me and Aida would talk. I would be like, hey, Aida, I would like this. Aida would be like, give me a second. She'll get on the phone and it'll be done in like a second. So it's so much from like the cameras, the lighting. Like I'm a dark skinned person, so I've done special. I look at it and I'm like, I'm not lighted well. Like I'm like, this camera's for light, fair skinned people. I'm not that. There's a certain way you light a black comedian. There's a certain angle. You got to capture their essence too. Like when you go see me, you want to in a visually, you want to capture what it is as much as you can, what it is to see them in person. And I feel like in this special, it captures me 100%. Like if y'all don't like it, y'all don't like it. But that's the best that I am is in that special. That's the best that I am right now at
What
this
do you
point.
think, Aida? What is directing?
It's his launch pad. So, I think directing it's so funny because someone was just telling me about how someone else was saying, oh, all she did was point at the monitors. And I'm like, I've been on Zoom calls for months prior to that, discussing every aspect of how he's going to come to light. But, listening and paying attention to them and seeing what they how they want to be seen. If you watch Gerard Carmichael, Bo did a great job lighting him. He looked
Yeah, that was
beautiful in Nathaniel. Like the way that he lit that black man, which is important to how somebody feels about themselves when you see somebody take the time to say, let's make sure you see his face because he's giving you him. There's no set, there's no props. It's just him. So I think directing is, just being a vessel for greatness. And for me, I'm humbled and thankful that he trusted me and they trusted me and that Edwin Lacona trusted me and that Viva Pictures trusted me and that HBO Max trusted me and the multicultural team trusted me to just go out and say, hey, let me show this. Let me show y'all what I see when I see him.
It's crazy that you said that, right? Because we don't think about that. We just think about the special, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Coy was up here a couple of months ago. He talked about how difficult it was to find somebody that can light things right.
Yeah.
And to find the right sound when somebody talks through a mic. So he actually said he had to go to different shows to see how lights were and I like this person's light, so we hired that person and go to different shows to say, I like the way it sounded with this one. And you don't realize how difficult that is. We take that for granted from somebody looking from the outside, but I'm sure it's very difficult to figure that stuff out.
Well, I've been on the other side of it, so I know what it feels like. I'm a tall woman, and you can make me look goofy as fuck if you put the cameras on me the wrong way. And Marcella, who I directed, also is 6'2". So I was like, make sure you don't cut her head off. Make sure you don't cut their hands off. The microphone is the tool that a comedian uses. You can't just cut the limbs off. My son told me that, it's a very interesting thing. I heard him when he was talking about lighting and how important that was. Those of us who have this light skin privilege or whatever it is that we call it now, we don't worry about not being properly lit. It's automatic, right? But when you are of a darker hue, that is something that's not automatic. And it's as 2022 as we like to be, that's something we still talking about. And so for me, I heard him. So I was like, we're going to make sure. And the DP was generous enough and kind enough to listen.
He was.
And he went about and did whatever he needed to do to make it happen. And I'm grateful for that because it doesn't happen like that. It's very much a problem in Hollywood, improperly lighting dark-skinned people.
How important is the audience for you, too, when you're filming a special? Because that's something we have to think about, too.
Yeah, I mean, the audience, for me, I was just like, I had toured all over the country. Like, I took the show everywhere, and I was pretty confident, like, if you put me in front of a audience, like, especially in my hometown, I'm from New York, like a New York audience, I was pretty confident that it would go well, like, because I've done it so many times. And also a special is like a show, so they're ready, there's warm-up, there's cameras. A lot of times they're like very excited to go, and luckily we had 2 great shows. We pretty much kept the first show, right? We just did the first show, but the second show was just as good. And I think it's so cool, like also to piggyback off what Aida said, working with like, not even on some race stuff, but like just working with people. Like when I did your show, everybody that worked for your show is like black, and if they're like black makeup artists, it's like such a relief because I'm like, there's stuff I don't have to worry about that I had to worry about what I work with, like, white. And it's not because they're racist, they just don't know that there's a difference. And even like with a director doesn't necessarily always do this, but I remember I did a fitting for the special and I was wearing this jacket and like all the people who were there who were not minorities was like, this looks great. This looks great. You're going to look great. It looks great on camera. And I left and I was like, all right, cool. I got my outfit. And then like 3 hours later, Aida called me like, where'd you get this jacket? This looks cheap. You're not gonna perform in this. It looks bad on camera. You can't do this. He's like, I know it's an expensive jacket, but you can't do this. You gotta find another jacket.
And to that point, somebody who's not of that culture would probably just let you go up there with that jacket,
right?
Because they don't even want to tell you it's whack.
Right.
Like, well,
then I would have been on YouTube getting roasted. Like, where he get this jacket by Black Twitter? So he saved me on that one. So
it starts at the top though. Like to your point, it's like my showrunner is black, and then Bianca's brown. Rachel and Bianca, and they fill in the blanks. So when you see that black and brown staff, it's because of them too.
Yeah.
And also it wasn't so, it did look bad. The quality didn't come through. It didn't complement his skin tone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that was an issue for him. So I'd rather tell him that because I love him and I want him to win than to be, let him not say anything and then have him suffer later, which I think is something that as a village people we should be doing for one another. Because you've seen people, and you like, oh, why did Faison wear that on the red carpet? You know, Faison is my brother, and you're like, why he do that? And or whoever it is, I'm not picking on him. I just say his name because he's my friend, and I can use that as an example. So I don't know if he wore something crazy on the red carpet or not, but I'm saying you can. Instead, I'll be like, yo, don't do that.
Yeah. What'd you do with the jacket, Ian?
I still got it. I got to pull that out for something else. I still got it because it don't look good on camera.
Yeah.
It look good in person. In person, you're like it's cool, but it has like a gloss to it that it don't look good on camera. But I did lose confidence in it. I haven't worn it since. I did lose a lot of confidence in it. No, I'm working on it. I got to build up.
Maybe post a picture so we can see what it.
I'll post a picture of it. I'm gonna get roasted. Then it's gonna defeat the whole purpose.
You know, the reason I love this is because this is how you kind of got your break, right? With Tiffany and the whole They Ready thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was Tiffany who put us on and made sure we got paid like our male counterparts. Mm-hmm. And that's always been, our thing. That throwing back the rope is something we've been talking about before we made it. Of course, they're always going to say, well, Tiffany, because Tiffany's famous and she has a big name, but she knows it. We know it. We talked about it. We always just said whoever goes first, and she went first. And so that's always been the thing. And for me, there's a whole section of Latinos that you never get to see, and that's going to always be my mission, merging Black and brownness, creating pathways and solidarity, because all of this stuff bleeds into everything that's happening.
When you did Caroline's, you had a all Latin lineup too, which was amazing, and everybody was funny. Everyone killed it. Yeah,
and they were Black. We had some Black people do it. They were Black Latinos, which you don't see in comedy. It's a very small group of people that you get to see, and I get like some Latin people will say, why you love Black people so much?
Oh, I get that too.
Yeah, I'm like, we are Black people. Like, we is the Black people. What are you talking about?
We is the Black people.
But it's so ridiculous to me. But it's like, okay, so now the Latinos are pushing back and they say, I can't say I'm Black, so I'm Afro-Indigenous or whatever it is, whatever. All of this
That's
stuff.
the thing now? I didn't even get that email. I didn't know.
That's you can't. I'm just
No, it's the people that come from me. There's the key, people who find themselves being the ambassadors of Blackness when it comes to Latinidad, and it's all good. I love my people so much. I love them too. Because for me, it's like I know what it is, the erasure and the constant. White Latinos will fill in these roles in Hollywood, and they will not look back. They'll be like, I made it, then I'm one of them now, and they forget about us. They also forget about the Black American people, right? Mm-hmm. Because Black American people created a pathway for us through civil rights and all of that. But what I'm saying is, so for me, it's like, I'm good. Whatever y'all want to do it. We're going to keep moving forward with what we're doing because we got something to say. Mm-hmm. And what we have to say, I think, is important. And like Ian doing a special called Romantic Comedy and focusing on relationships is groundbreaking because usually they want to hear about how your mama used to beat you, how broke you were, how you grew up on food stamps.
That's a lot at the top. At the top, I mean, I feel like that's the biggest way you broke through in like the industry. It's like when you could just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Because I remember auditioning for like all the festivals early on. I would do the audition and obviously I wouldn't get it, and then they would be like, "You got to talk more about your story. You got to tell your story." And I'm like, that white comic is talking about frogs. He did 5 minutes on frogs and how weird frogs are, and he went, but I got to talk about my upbringing, and I kind of fall back on that a lot. I was like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about.
So you talk about your relationship, so
here we go.
The person you're in a relationship with, how do they feel when you talk about the relationship?
This is dating from
you started to say what person, King?
Nah, you misheard me. No, you misheard me.
Nah.
That's not the space he's coming from.
Whoever she thinks she is, she knows she's not now.
No, that's not true. That's not true. This is
draw the rope back.
I'm speaking as an artist. I just not personal. Okay. No, but it's not really about my relationship. It's about just dating or what it's like. I mean, I'm 32 now, and I'm not married. I'm not like I have no kids or nothing, and it's just been like a culmination of all my dating experience and all my friends.
By the way, being Dominican with no kids is totally breaking all stereotypes.
I know. That's why I'm on it. That's why I got the special. They
do you wear white jeans?
I couldn't do the white jeans.
He wore white jeans.
White jeans with the Giants jersey. white jeans with the blue Giants jersey. That's Dominican.
Now you said you've also said that you think dating is harder now than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I had a joke about it where back in the day, like you hear stories about it all the time. I hear stories, especially with the Dominicans, where they would you have a family and you raise another family, right? Like right on the same neighborhood, 2 families in the neighborhood, and everybody just mind their business. Nobody said nothing.
That's something we got in common.
Yeah.
My daddy was doing the same.
Right, but there was no phones. People didn't capture you. How was you gonna get caught cheating? You got caught cheating
because you live in the same neighborhood. It's just literally
but if they called your wife and was like, "Yo, I saw Charlamagne out with this girl," you could be like, "They're lying."
No proof.
And that's it. Yeah, that's it.
No,
if they had a big ass camera,
my daddy's excuses were way worse. Oh, I'm over here doing work, doing construction on the house. Oh, it's my assistant.
That's your dad. You say your dad?
Oh yeah, that was my dad's excuse.
Right, but now it's hard. You can't be out here. You gotta, you know, it's social media. You following everything. There's stories. It's tough.
You can't get away with that type. I know somebody who was married, and they said that their husband had a whole family. He would pretend to go to work in the morning, but he would be driving like 6 blocks away. One day she followed him. That's how he had a whole nother house and family like 6 blocks away.
6 blocks.
You couldn't get away with that now.
Same zip code. But it still happened. I dated a girl. For 6 months. We dated. It was, and then I found out she had a fiance. She was like engaged to be married. She lived with the guy and everything. Because he called me one night. He went through her phone, read her messages. He called me.
Did you tell her?
See, back then there would be no going through the phone and checking messages. You got away with it.
Yeah, I told her. What you think I'm gonna have her back? Yeah, hell yeah. I told her. I told her.
My girl? Yeah.
I actually have a joke about this because his energy was real weird. Like I picked up. He called me from her number, and I picked up. Thinking it was her, because I had like 30 missed calls from her number, and I thought something had happened, and I picked up, and the first thing he said, he was like, "Yo, is this the nigga with the pretty ass eyebrows?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I was flattered, to be honest. I was like, I don't know what this is, but thank you about the eyebrows. And then he was like, "Yo, I'm with this girl, I have a fiance," and I was like, "Yeah." I mean, I didn't know, bro. I don't know. He wanted like to meet up and fight. I'm like, I don't want to fight you. I don't care enough about this like you do. This is fiance. I understand why you're upset. I'm not that upset. So like.
You think if she would have told you I'm engaged, you would have still messed with her, like been the side guy?
He's listening.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. Say, like, just be honest. It's still...
People say that. I feel like guys say, let's be honest. Women be like, let's be honest, but then you honest and they leave. And I'm like, well, that's not what I wanted.
Did you have sex with the young lady that we were talking about?
The girl?
Yeah,
we was there for 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It was wild because she lived with the guy and she used to like stay over my house and stuff. She used to say she was like at her parents' house. And
Wow. You're really snitching. Like, you're going further with this.
It's fine. They broke up.
Okay.
It's cool.
So were you telling him, was he asking you all those questions?
He was asking me for details. And I'm like, you read the text messages. You know the details because she was saying the stuff in the text messages. But they broke up like the next day.
Wow, do you want to know all those details?
I don't know. That was weird. And then he called me like a couple days later, like, bro, like I just need to know. And I'm like, bro, now I feel bad for you. He's like, I just need you to tell me, like, man to man, like, did she do this? And I'm like, did she do that?
Did she eat a penis?
We're gonna stop.
Did she eat a penis on stage? I'm like,
no, that's enough.
Oh man.
Well, did you at least get to the special? Like, so you come see him?
Nah, honestly, everything is cool. It was honestly is deeper than that. He was cheating on her too. She had caught him already, so she had moved on and did check out.
That's like the end of Hey Mom when Jules Santana be like, I hit, I got dome, what else?
Yeah.
Damn.
Now let me ask you this: how personal do you get? Because, like, for instance, Chris Red, he got attacked outside of the comedy.
Shout out Chris, yeah.
And then he was talking about it, and he was saying at first he really wanted to go on stage right away.
Yeah.
But he was bleeding. He was like, I don't want to bleed on these people. But he said he did want to like go on stage, and he does address it in his stand-up. And for you, a lot of things happen in your personal life. So do you feel like those are things when they happen, you're like, I got to figure out how to incorporate this?
Sometimes I try to be as real as I can from my perspective point of view. So every joke is my perspective. It might not be exactly how it happened. It might not be exactly how the story, but that's what I think, or that's how I would have wanted to react. So I try to say that, but it's weird, especially when you dating, because like now you meet girls and they're like, don't put me in your stand-up, and I'm like, I'm gonna. If it's if it's funny, I might have to, but I don't put nobody's name in it, and you would never know it was you unless only me and you would know who exactly it is, and her fiance.
Like, would you make a joke like, just say you were in bed with a woman and you couldn't get an erection? Would that be part of your stand-up?
Where you going with this,
Yeah, who you been speaking to? What you heard? What have you heard? Yeah, I will make a joke about that. Yeah, I'm the butt of the joke there, so that's fine. Like, right? I will make a joke about that. Yeah.
Now, Ida, it's a lot going on in the world.
Oh my
Here we
God, we on fire. He said, "There we go."
Here we go.
What concerns you the most right now?
You know what? The attack on democracy that is so apparent. I just think that we so worried about who Michael B. Jordan is dating, and is Kim Kardashian got her hair braided, and is Northwest gonna be exploited? Like all of that stuff that we're worried about. In the meantime, the stuff that's happening behind the scenes is very, very because a lot of people are felt very disheartened by this last election, and they're like, look at what Joe Biden has done, look at Kamala, blah blah blah. So there's this big whole movement of people who just don't want to vote, which has never been the revolutionary thing that they think they're doing has been the standard, right? We came out and voted during Obama, but I just feel like if people are pulling out guns in Arizona trying to keep people from voting, there's something that's significant in voting. In addition to respect to the ancestors who were not allowed to vote, there's something very weird about what's going on in this country where this apathy of people who are like, well, I'm not voting because none of them have my best interest. You will want to make sure that sheriff, that DA, that superintendent in that school, in your area that's affecting your children, affecting your elders, the people who you're supposed to be caring for in your village, yourself, because you got to drive through that neighborhood at night. You should want to care. You should care about those people because you saw the people in L.A. who were talking smack about these little black babies or the little black baby and talking about indigenous people. Those are the people in your neighborhood. Those are the people that have authority over the funds.
And they looked like us. That's the bad part. Those are Latinos. You know what I'm
saying? But the thing about it is that people were like, I'm like, yo, don't act like y'all ain't never heard this before. Stop it with the bullshit and the lies. That happens everywhere, and I'm sure it's happening throughout the country in all city governments, and that is why we need to vote, because we need to get those people out of there. And so that's why I'm concerned, and that's why we take the comedy. That's our contribution to society and what we do. And I get accused of being too heavy and too hard and too confrontational. And, I almost quit this year because I was told point blank to my face that I don't tap dance enough to make it in this business.
An executive told you that?
Yeah, but the executive is a person that I know, and they're like, that's why Latinos, they like the Latinos that are going to talk about eating cupcakes, and, they want you to be lighthearted. They don't want to hear no Latina woman talking about this deep stuff. This is how racially driven it is. It's like right now, somebody even told me, right now is the season for dark-skinned black women. I'm like, it should have always been the season for dark-skinned black women. There should have had been designated a time. You should have not been ignoring dark-skinned black women from the beginning, especially as we watch everybody is emulating them now by going to get, all of the attributes. But I think it's important for us to talk about this stuff because it's scary right now what's happening. Do people know that people are pulling up with guns, intimidating voters in Arizona?
Yeah. We just had Stephanie Young from When We All Vote up here, and I was bringing that up as because that is a form of voter suppression. If you're in line and you see somebody standing there with a gun, you might not feel welcome there. You might leave.
No, it's in the DNA of people of color to be feel weird. That's what they say. Why do you act weird when dogs are around? People don't understand the relationship. It's a genetic. It's been passed down through generations. And if somebody shows up at the polls with guns, sorry, Breakfast Club, I don't mean to get heavy on y'all, but it's just that's worrisome to me because the voting is on the ballot. Voting for black people is on the ballot. Women's rights on the ballot. That is ridiculous. As much as all these feminist bitches talking about liberation and, show your titties and do this and do that and all of this stuff. Yes. But also what you do on Twitter has to translate into real life. It can't just be you got retweets and now you selling shirts and you getting guap off of the people who are suffering and struggling. It's what are we doing to make change in the world? Because yes, social media is a tool, but it's also a tool of destruction.
I hate it.
Mass destruction. I'm not even on Twitter anymore. So if y'all cancel me,
I ain't been on there in 4 or 5 years.
Y'all have to.
You not on Twitter?
Nah.
Yeah.
No,
I've been on there like 4 years.
Yeah.
Aida, what makes you decide not to give up? Like you said, you felt like you almost were about to, but what pushed you through?
I give up every week.
Yeah.
Actually, directing their specials gave me some. Gave me a little CPR and brought me back from behind the camera, and I was like, I do want to perform. I'm an actress. I went to Hollywood to be an actress, and I don't ever get called for acting jobs. I have friends who are all very powerful in the business that have movies and stuff, and they'll be like, this will be me, and they'll be like, I need a tall Puerto Rican, Dominican, that's from Miami.
You know anyone?
They'll be like, yo, Angela, you know somebody? That's how they do me. So but I want to focus on that. So I'm writing films. I'm gonna create my own, right? Mm-hmm. So who said it? They said Albert Einstein said it. Now you can't say who said a quote no more because there'll be 300 people who graduated from college telling you they really didn't say it. But the quote was, I'm thankful for all the people who said no to me because of them. I did it myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm focusing on.
I saw Will Smith got attributed that quote.
No, that
Will said that?
No, they said.
No, I'm lying.
Everything
on Facebook that's a good quote is Will Smith.
I was saying, Will, that's pretty deep for Will.
Was that
not bad.
Did they say what did the 5 fingers say to face?
No.
That was Will Smith.
Did they give him that quote too? No disrespect, that's not me picking sides as me being a comedian.
He said Will Smith said that. Don't even make sense.
I was going to say, when it comes to the death of democracy language, too, I don't think that resonates with people. And the reason it doesn't is because some people feel like democracy was never alive for them anyway.
Well, that's true. But the other thing is that we take it for granted. We think, it's messed up here. But when you travel the world, like in places where men let the women walk ahead of them, so if there's a landmine, they can blow up first. When they are places where, as a woman, you can't even show your eyes, and you have a metal plate over your eyes, where there are places that your vote does not matter, that it doesn't count. They're gonna give you 1 loaf of bread a month, and that's all you're gonna have, and you're gonna have to contend with that. I think it's very easy to take your alleged democracy for granted. But if you look at history and how long democracies last,
that's right,
then you know that our time is up.
You overdue.
And so when you see these people out here, you see The Handmaid's Tale, and you see movies like, with The Hunger Games, and then you pay attention to what's happening in society. These people talk about how much they care about patriots and children. They don't give a damn about patriots and children. Children not getting free lunch in some places, and they just getting used to not eating lunch. That's not cool. So what are we going to do is if we are going to say, well, we never really had democracy, those of us of darker hues, and the darker you get, the worse it gets, how much do you think we're going to be able to, how much better do you think it's going to get, right? We can't stop fighting. Every single one of us is a dream realized. We are the wildest dream of one of our ancestors who's never thought that they would ever have someone that would exist in a time where we could even sit here and do this. So why would we give up now?
Well
we
said.
magic.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Whoa.
What else on your mind, Aida? Anything?
No. Actually, I really want people to watch Ian's special on Friday when it drops. It's very important to get the numbers. I really want, I know there's. I'm gonna step back on the soapbox. I know there's this big active movement that is divides by the top, that's dividing us further, men and women, black people and brown people. There's this big consciousness that is so profiting so much at our division. It is so profitable for us to be always in a fight. And now it's, the Africans are not black, and the West Caribbeans and black people this, and non-foundationals this, and this, that, and the other. And I say in truth and love, as a Puerto Rican Dominican woman, I think black people should get reparations. I'll fight for that. I think black people in Haiti need reparations from France. I think black people all over the world are owed reparations from somebody. But what I would love to see is some unity and solidarity, because it's really hurting us.
Yeah.
We are suffering, and as much as awareness is created through social media, the action to correct those wrongs doesn't meet it. It's a lot of performative and a lot of people that are grifting off of our own people. It's a lot of people who are, I got y'all, but living in fat cribs, living the best lives, don't give a damn about you as long as you buy that shirt, you buy that book, and you show up. And we gotta, as a collective, those of us who are not in the top 1%, we have to find some unity so that we can survive. That being said, romantic comedy airs on HBO Max.
Romantic
Aida,
comedy.
We appreciate you guys. And definitely check out Ida's site, funnyaida.com. And Ian, you got a site too?
Yeah, you could. I'm at ianlaralive.com and ianlaralive. That's my Instagram. And
I feel
y'all can
like
check me
Ian
out.
and Envy need to like link up or something and do
Dominicans
something.
link up,
Yeah,
Envy.
from Queens.
Dominican.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, this is an honor, man.
Where you from?
Southside.
Okay.
Yeah, this is so dope. I've been watching you guys from the beginning. It's so dope that I got to do it with while you guys were all three still here. This is dope. I appreciate it.
Because you know the Breakfast Club, you know it is officially over. So
Yeah, I know. When I saw that tweet, I was like, my luck. I texted Ida. I was like, my luck. Because Angela was at the special. And I was like, all right, maybe I could do the Breakfast Club. And then she's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, all right, career's done. Here we go.
No, honestly, the special is hilarious. Like you said, I was there that night. It was Ian is so funny. You guys will enjoy it so much. I'm going to be watching it again because I want to see what my friend, the director, did.
Oh, yeah,
Also,
for
besides
sure.
just pointing at the monitor, I got to see all of that.
No,
I did that,
I wanna
that,
see.
and that. That's all I
She
did.
was, and you know what's funny? Because when I went down there, she was pointing at the
Yeah,
monitor.
that is. There's I actually have a lot of pictures of her just doing this, but it looks like it's nothing. But visually, how it looks is all Ida. Like it's all like.
But I know how important this was for her, and she was like, "Please." It was in Brooklyn too, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I had to make sure that I came out and represented, just because I do know Ida goes really hard.
For sure. Yeah. You work with like a black woman or a Latino woman, they're like, you're not gonna have me looking crazy out here. So
That's right.
when she had that attitude, I was like, all right, it's gonna be good. We're gonna do the work.
I feel like doing her own special made her a guinea pig for herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was important. And you know what? The other thing is, Ian worked so hard. Ian lost his mother last year around
Yeah.
November.
Sorry to hear that, Ken.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Appreciate
and
it.
He had to push his special back. And I am a mom and I have a son. And so with him, I was like, I got you. I'm going to make sure that we get you to the finish line. His mom came here from the Dominican Republic and put in a lot of work for him. And I was grieving when I did Last Comic Standing, so I know what it was. I know what that was like. So it was important for me to show up for him and just make sure that I just laid it out so that he could just shine. He worked his ass off. He was on the road right up until he shot that special. He did the work. It's a lot of comedians out here whose names you don't know that are running an assembly line to make you laugh every week. You go to a comedy club all over this country, and there are comedians there that you don't know who don't have the shine and don't have the big deals and don't have the millions of dollars. And he deserves every single thing that he gets because he busted his ass while grieving the loss of his mother to show up to make a good name for her and himself.
I just want the record to show Ida's last 3 comments. She said, I don't want this to be heavy. And they got heavier.
Heavier. She's like, to end on a light note, he lost his mom. He lost his mom. Nah. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's so nice. My mom, my mom passed away last year, a week before we were supposed to film the special. And then it got pushed back. And there's a honor to her in the special too. It was like a big deal.
Oh.
And most of the stuff I wrote, like I wrote like most of the material while I was grieving, and it was like a weird thing as an artist to see, like I was in the darkest place of my life, but coming up with jokes to entertain people solidified like, yo, I'm a comedian, this is what I do. So
do you think comedy has to come from tragedy? Like, they say what tears of a clown.
I don't think it has to.
Yeah.
I think it comes from whatever you wanted to come from. Some of the funniest comedians that I found funny, it don't come from tragedy. Before my mom passed, like I ain't really have tragedy. Like my family is pretty. My mom and dad, they married 33 years. Like they're pretty a tight knit Dominican community. It's very funny. It wasn't like a lot of course we have our issues, but it wasn't like a lot of heaviness. My mom got sick and passed away in 4 months. She went from like at a party to like stage 4 cancer, passed away in 4 months. So my life, like in like a week, it just completely flipped. I wasn't used to like that. So having to deal with that was tough. And when my mom passed, I remember driving home and I was like driving in my car. It was me and my godfather, and I was like, I said it out loud. I was like, this is crazy. Like I was in the moment. I was like, this is the worst day of my life. And Ida called me there and we had like a long conversation for like 30 minutes. And I had it on speaker and my godfather heard it and he was like, who's that? I was like, oh, that's Ida Rodriguez. He was like, those words were beautiful. Like that was like the dopest thing I've heard. She was like, there's nothing else left to be said after that. And after that, I was like, when I'm ready to come back, we're going to do this and we're going to, so.
I had Donnell Rollins on Hell of a Week this week, and he was like, man, I pray to God Herschel Walker wins because it'll be so much comedy. He said, for the sake of comedy, we need him to win.
He didn't just say that out of nowhere. You gave him options. He didn't just say it out of nowhere.
He didn't have to say that.
He had to pick one out of 4 terrible options.
No, it was called One Gotta Go.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, out of all of the elections that are so important this year, which state can we do without?
Yeah.
And so it had nothing to do with him saying he loved Herschel Walker and he wants him to win so he can have comedy.
Damn, Donnell.
Well, people said that about Trump, and then Trump got elected. I'm like, where's all this comedy that y'all? Where's all the funny jokes that y'all was?
There's a man out there telling people he's going to cut Medicare and Social Security. It's like, we like to make jokes, but come on, man. Like, we really... Georgia has such a big black populace. Like, we need that state. You know what I'm saying? I just, at some point, as a comedian, some shit ain't funny no more. To me, it's just like some things are just, we gotta, those of us who know better gotta do better for those who don't know better. Because there's a lot of us that don't know better by design. But watch romantic comedy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Romantic comedy.
Ida, Ian, we appreciate
And
you
Ida's
guys
going to be
for
on
joining
Hell
us.
of a Week this week,
Okay.
Thursday night, 11:30 on Comedy Central. So I can't wait to see.
And I'll be doing jokes there.
maybe, depending on how
You
the
go
midterms
political.
go.
You go political here and joke on.
All right. Well, it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.